Archangel Michael says, "The door between what you have known and what you are meant to know is shifting on its silent hinges, and a presence is stepping through with careful, decisive feet." This presence is not here to disturb you or to distract you. It is here to fulfill an instruction carried on a bright thread from heaven to your ordinary room. A messenger is already on the way, clothed as a person you might overlook, carrying the change you begged for without knowing what you asked. You have felt it first as a throb of restlessness, an ache under familiar routines. You touched the keys you always touch, walked the same halls you always walk, yet the floor seems to hum like a bridge between shores. A scent you could not place drifted by your shoulder earlier today, and it felt like cedar and first rain, like the breath of a book opening itself to a fresh chapter. The messenger does not knock as thunder does. The messenger arrives as dawn arrives, with a soft but unstoppable widening of light. This is not about a grand entrance or a spectacle meant for applause. This is a turning of the inner compass that has been slightly off for years, a gentle reaching of one human hand toward yours at the precise second your courage needs company. You asked for help when no one was listening, and yet heaven listened. You asked for a sign in the tiring language of disappointment, and heaven answered with a person who speaks the quiet dialect of your heart. Heaven did not send another struggle to prove your strength. Heaven sent a witness of your strength, so you can finally see what everyone else refuses to acknowledge in you. There is a music to destiny that only becomes audible when the room falls still. You will hear it as footsteps that feel familiar even though you have never heard them before. You will hear it as the hush that falls over your doubts when kindness enters a space and chooses to stay. The rhythm changes. The air lifts. The future becomes less heavy. This person will not be predictable in costume. Do not look only for a rescuer draped in certainty. The messenger may wear a delivery jacket and carry a battered satchel. They may stand behind a counter, scribble on a notepad, or lean on a broom in a quiet corner. They may be a neighbor returning a misplaced letter, an old friend resurfacing without explanation, a stranger sitting 2 seats away on the bus who glances at your book and smiles as if recognizing a chapter of their own life. They come with a key, yet the key is not metal. The key is a sentence placed gently in your day, the kind that turns locks you did not know existed. The key is a small decision made together, the kind that uproots the old story by its stubborn root and tosses it over the fence where your limits once stood. The key is presence offered without condition, the patient companionship that teaches your nervous system a new alphabet of calm. You have been tested by storms that called themselves teachers but acted like thieves. You have walked home through hail and told yourself it was just weather, that everyone gets wet sometimes. You forgot to notice the way you sheltered others with your own coat while the sky broke open. You forgot to call your tenderness wisdom, your persistence bravery, your sensitivity evidence of sight. Tonight, the scales begin to balance. The messenger is not a judge and not a jury, the messenger is a mirror wound in ribbon. The reflection will not flatter you with illusions, it will restore what constant criticism eroded. Where you were told to shrink, you will be invited to take up the exact space heaven measured for you before you were born. Do not mistake this meeting for coincidence simply because it does not wear a crown. Heaven often hides its royalty behind chipped mugs and comfortable shoes. Heaven trusts simplicity, because simplicity leaves nothing to explain and everything to receive. The more ordinary this arrival appears, the more extraordinary its roots will be. There is an old agreement that you signed with sorrow, one that promised you safety if you promised to expect less. This person brings a new agreement written in letters of rest and courage. It does not demand perfection, it asks for presence. It does not ask what you can produce, it asks who you already are when no one is demanding a performance. The messenger will know you by the way your eyes search a room for exits and reasons. They will recognize the way your laugh hesitates at the threshold, as if waiting for permission to enter. They will not rush you, because they understand the timing of trust. They will leave space for answers to arrive on their own feet, and in that space your voice will discover its complete name. You will be tempted to minimize what happens, to fold it into the small drawers where you keep almost good news. Resist that habit. Let the good news stand upright and breathe. Let it stretch its arms across your afternoon. Let it spill into your evening like sunlight that cannot stop loving the floor. There will be reminders along the way so your mind does not talk you out of what your spirit knows. A feather on a path you never take. A number that repeats with stubborn affection. A memory you needed that revisits like an old friend with warm bread. These are not tricks, these are landmarks, gentle flags placed along your crossing so you do not lose your way between shores. The messenger carries a question that is shaped like an invitation, not, "What is wrong with you?" but, "What do you desire to build with your life now that the scaffolding of fear has been taken down?" The structure is changing. The echoes you used to obey are growing quiet. You will not be haunted by corridors that lead nowhere. You will be guided toward a door that opens into a room already arranged for your arrival. There is work to do, but the work will not grind you into dust. The work will gather you. It will gather your scattered, glittering pieces and fit them into an architecture that can hold honest joy. The messenger has carried blueprints in the lining of their coat. They have waited to unfold them until you could bear the sight of your own potential without calling it foolishness. You will feel the difference as soon as your names meet. The air will organize itself around the syllables, and the conversation will find its depth without rehearsals or masks. Even silence will become a friend that sits without fidgeting. Even pauses will feel like breathing, not like something is wrong. This is how truth behaves, it does not sprint to impress, it settles to remain. You have learned to carry alarms inside your bones. You wake fast, you flinch at kindness, you brace for the catch. This meeting will teach your alarms a new schedule. They will learn to ring when wisdom speaks and sleep when love is near. Your nervous system will revise its old map and stop labeling every bridge as a cliff. The messenger will not heal you. They will not complete you. They will stand beside you as you heal yourself by finally believing you are allowed to step out of the role of survivor and into the vocation of creator. You will lay down the narratives that made you interesting only because you were hurting, and you will pick up the narrative that makes you luminous because you are true. There will be a place where you walk together for the first time that does not need to be remarkable. A grocery aisle. A park bench. A threshold where shoes are left and stories are picked up. Do not wait for fireworks, pay attention to warmth. Fireworks end, warmth abides. A small promise will be made, and you will hear it as fully as it is meant. Not a vow of forever carved in marble, but a vow of honesty carved in breath. I will be as I say I am. I will show up when I say I will. I will speak without disguises. I will listen as if your heart is a cathedral and I am a respectful guest. This is rare. This is the language your spirit learned before this world taught it to bargain. You have been told that your sensitivity is a storm to tame. Heaven calls it a compass to trust. The messenger understands the difference. They will not force you into noise, they will walk with you at the volume where revelations can be heard. They will not drag you into rooms that tire your soul and name it growth, they will invite you to tables where your essence does not have to apologize for being present. There will be stories traded that feel like lanterns being lit along a path. Each shared memory will glow softly, and the path ahead will stop pretending to be dark. The messenger will not demand confession as proof of intimacy. They will cultivate safety until confession arrives as a gift, not as a tax. The old griefs will come to the doorway to watch, astonished that their reign is ending. They will try to argue for relevance, they will quote the emptiness of yesterday as if it were a law. But their voices will sound outdated against the new music. You will not fight them, you will thank them for the lessons that have already been learned, and you will invite them to rest. You will not build your future from recycled pain. In the days that follow, you will find yourself moving differently through rooms that once shrank you. You will take the seat that lets your shoulders relax. You will answer your name as if it is a friend calling you home. You will place your hand on the small stacks of tasks that once intimidated you and they will lose their height. This is not laziness, this is dominion. The messenger's presence will have awakened your own. A letter is hidden in your week. Perhaps it is a literal letter, creased and long-traveled, suddenly discovered behind a drawer. Perhaps it is a message left in a voice memo, an email that chooses the exact moment you needed it, a note someone scribbles and slides toward you with a shy boldness. Do not dismiss it because it is brief, brevity often protects the purest truth. Read it twice. Read it again. Let your chest open at the line that names the thing you never thought anyone would see. Your home will begin to rearrange itself to greet what is entering. A shelf will make room. A chair will be placed at a kitchen table as if anticipating a guest who loves stories. The plant in the corner will lean toward the brighter window. Your room will not require expensive renovation, it will require alignment. The right adjustments are small and sacred. You will dream of doors. Some will be too small because they were built for the version of you that used to apologize for existing. Some will be locked because they guard museums of almost. Walk past those. There will be one door that is simple and strong, with a handle polished by hands that have carried good burdens. That is your door. The messenger knows the way to it and will walk beside you, not in front of you. Conversations will begin to taste like water after a long thirst. You will notice how your body relaxes when words are honest. You will notice how your shoulders lower when no one is keeping score. You will notice how your laughter returns from far places where it was hiding. The messenger will not demand you become cheerful, they will permit you to be whole. There is a fear that shows up whenever gifts arrive, the fear that they will be taken away to punish you for daring to receive. Let it speak its piece and then show it the evidence of your growth. Show it the mornings you rose anyway. Show it the kindness you gave without witness. Show it the boundaries you set because your peace became precious. Let fear see the archive of your becoming, and it will lay down its old openings. You have been an answer to prayers you never heard someone whisper. Now heaven is answering yours. The one who comes is not the entire harvest, they are the rain that lets the seeds within you finally choose to break open. The sprouting will be tender. Protect it with rest. Nourish it with truth. Share it only where listening is a real practice, not a performance. There will be a moment when your eyes fill, not from pain this time, but from recognition. It will feel like stepping into a room where your name is on the wall and the light is set for your arrival. The messenger will not ask you to forget what you survived, they will witness it with you and then turn with you toward what survives you, your calling, your craft, your capacity for devoted joy. The decisions you make will begin to align with the self you are keeping. You will say yes to fewer things and yet notice your life expanding. You will say no to familiar patterns and the floor will hold. You will choose people who treat your hope as something sacred and actionable. The messenger will celebrate your boundaries because real companions are relieved when you protect your own heart. A simple ritual will anchor this new season. Perhaps it is tea at the same hour with a conversation that feels like a porch light. Perhaps it is a walk that pauses at the same tree which looks like it has been waiting to witness this exact friendship. Perhaps it is silence shared without the need to fill it, a small ceremony that tells your spirit it is safe to settle. Do not hurry this. Heaven's timing is precise, and it is kind. The slow unfolding is a mercy that prevents uprooting what is delicate. The messenger understands how to keep pace with grace. Together you will learn the choreography of a promise kept well. There will be craftsmanship in the way this connection builds. Corners will be joined carefully, foundations will be checked for strength, walls will be blessed with laughter before they are asked to bear weight. You will not rush to call it what you think you must call it for it to matter. You will let it be what it is while it is becoming what it is meant to be. You will notice old cravings losing their intensity, the craving to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding, the craving to win rooms that were never meant for your voice, the craving to outrun exhaustion to prove you deserve rest. Relief will become your teacher. Quiet will become your ally. Contentment will sit in your kitchen chair and refuse to leave, and you will be grateful. There is also courage in this. You will be asked to put down a few familiar burdens that have secretly become identities. You will be asked to trust provisions that do not announce themselves with megaphones. You will be asked to be seen in the ways you have carefully avoided. The messenger will stand with you at each small threshold and wait with you until your feet are ready to move. A calling that once felt like a rumor will clarify. A phrase you have carried for years without knowing where to place it will suddenly belong. Your work will feel less like negotiation and more like offering. Your days will learn to hold a steady, healthy pace. The one who comes will not do the work for you, but their presence will keep discouragement from stealing your tools. You will become fluent in gratitude that does not beg. You will learn to say, thank you, as someone who knows they are included, not as someone trying to earn their seat. The messenger will honor your gratitude because they live that language too. Together you will lift ordinary moments until they glow like small altars. You will begin to create again, not because the world demands content, but because your soul cannot hold back its colors. The messenger will hold a corner of the canvas and smile at the way you paint without apologizing. You will make room for mistakes, because mistakes stopped being threats when shame stopped running your studio. There is a doorbell inside your chest that trauma kept ringing just to keep you on edge. This season silences that doorbell. The real visitor does not press it. The real visitor knocks gently and waits. They do not assert their importance, they ask for your presence. The difference will teach you to trust again. You will find proof of heaven's patience in the details, a bus arriving just before the rain, a recipe turning out right the first time, a song from years ago playing at the exact moment you needed to remember who you were becoming. The messenger will laugh softly when you point these things out, because they have lived this choreography long enough to recognize the composer. The old house of self-doubt is not demolished in a day, it is emptied with love. Room by room, you will carry boxes of outdated beliefs to the curb, and the messenger will hold the door while you go back for the lighter things you still need. Some frames will stay because they hold true pictures. Most will go because they hold no living faces. During this process, people who only knew the version of you that apologized for existing may feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is not your problem to solve. You will not posture or preach, you will bless and continue. You will keep the posture of someone who is watering their own garden and is willing to share the harvest with anyone who shows up with respect. There will be an evening when you notice that your breathing is less shallow without effort. You will set down your phone and not fear what you might miss. You will look out the window and let the sky name your season, arrival, not waiting, building, not bracing, receiving, not rehearsing. The messenger will be there, reading quietly, and the room will feel whole. You have not missed your time. Delay is not denial, it is preparation. The messenger knows this, which is why they move without the frantic energy of desperation. They live with the peace of someone who has learned to let heaven be punctual in its own language. Stand near them and you will learn this language too. Your future is not a battlefield to conquer, it is a garden to tend with someone who understands rain and light and the necessity of winter. The messenger is not afraid of your winters, they pack a blanket and a book and sit with you until spring makes its gentle announcement. They do not force blooms, they welcome them. A simple kindness you offer will return to you multiplied in their hands. You will bring them a small comfort without fanfare, and you will watch how they turn it into a feast. This is how reciprocity feels when it is healthy, easy, generous, free of debt. There is no ledger here, only shared provision. You will not lose yourself in this, you will find the self you have been missing. The messenger will not eclipse you, they will learn your constellation and step back so you can shine in your own sky. In return, you will learn theirs and celebrate it without competition. Heaven designed light to multiply, not to cancel. There will be a threshold where you speak a blessing over what is beginning. It will not be complicated. It might be as simple as, let this be real and let it be good. You will feel the blessing land. You will feel the story accept its assignment to be tender and true. The hours will carry small surprises that feel like acknowledgments from the author. A street you have never walked that feels like it knows your footsteps, a stranger's kindness that answers yesterday's private prayer, a timing that aligns so neatly you smile without anyone needing to understand why. Keep a small notebook or a corner of your memory for these details, they are the evidence you will hand to fear when it tries to audition for the role of guide again. This arrival is not an accident. This arrival is not a consolation prize. This arrival is heaven's careful reply to your long endurance. You stayed when it was easier to run. You spoke gently when the world invited you to shout. You blessed when bitterness called itself wisdom. Heaven kept the receipts. Heaven now returns them as a gift wrapped in a person whose presence clarifies your own. When shadow. You will not spiral for hours, you will stabilize in minutes. You will have words that work. You will have rest that restores. You will have company that steadies. The messenger is part of this, but the source is deeper. The source is the place in you that remembers home. Let this be the season where you answer love with maturity. Let this be the stretch of road where you stop racing and start traveling with intention. Let this be the year you celebrate your own softness as strength and your own honesty as brilliance. Let this be your testimony told in the tiny details of a day that finally fits. If fatigue rises, it will not own you. If doubt taps your shoulder, it will not steer you. If the past knocks, you will check the peephole and choose wisely. The messenger will nod when you do, because they trust your discernment. Heaven did not send a babysitter, heaven sent an ally. This person arrives because the harvest is ready, and you cannot carry it alone without breaking the very branches that grew it. You will share the lifting. You will share the sorting. You will share the wonder at how much goodness can fit in a single afternoon when the right hands are present. You will stand in your kitchen smiling like someone who finally gets the joke everyone else laughed at years ago. There will be days when everything is ordinary and nothing dramatic happens, and those days will be proof that heaven's gifts are sustainable. You will fold laundry and feel gratitude in every sleeve. You will take a walk and feel as if the sidewalk keeps the tempo of your heart. You will make simple food and it will taste like home because your soul is home. Long after the first meeting, you will realize that the true miracle was not how they arrived but how you made room. You opened the window inside your chest and let the air change. You chose to stop arguing with the light. You allowed yourself to be known by someone who deserved to know you. This is the core of the gift. This is why the door opened and did not close. Hold this gently and protect it. Speak of it with accuracy more than with excitement. Protect it from the hands that squeeze and from the voices that envy. Guard the beginnings with quiet. Celebrate the milestones with those who can bless without needing to be the center of the story. The path is not without weather, but it is without the loneliness that used to exhaust you. Storms will still form, and you will still fetch the candles, but you will not fear the dark. You will smile at the thunder because you have learned its pattern, and your house is built on something that does not flinch. You are not empty-handed. You are not alone. Keep watching the small signals. Keep honoring your intuition that hums at the soft volume of truth. Keep choosing the steady voice over the loud one. Keep opening your hand when grace places something good in it. Keep walking at the pace of peace. The messenger will match it, step for step. You were never forgotten. The timeline did not punish you. The lessons did not waste you. Every hour that felt stolen will be translated into strength you can actually use. Every tear that felt ignored will water the roots of what is rising now. Every almost will be replaced by what fully chooses you back. When the moment comes, and it will, you will step through a doorway with the messenger and feel the click of alignment under your feet. The room beyond will not be perfect, it will be prepared. The windows will open easily. The chairs will not wobble. The table will be marked by previous feasts and ready for new ones. You will breathe, and the room will answer with a welcome you can feel. This is the chapter where you practice staying. This is the page where you write with an ink that does not run when rain arrives. This is the line where your name is written next to the word beloved, and you finally agree that heaven was always telling the truth about you. Walk forward now with your head unbowed and your hands unafraid. Walk forward as someone who recognizes a gift without interrogating it to death. Walk forward with the steady confidence of someone who has been sent good company by a commander who knows every street and every hour. The messenger is close. The day is ready. Your heart has been rehearsing for this reunion since before you knew what you were missing. Open the door when kindness knocks. Answer your life when it calls you by your right name. Step into the room where the future is not a threat but a friend with a warm coat and a place saved at the table. Build what is coming with conscience and care. Bless what is leaving without bitterness. Let the past become antique, cherished and no longer central. Let the present feel like a porch where the evening is kind and the horizon keeps its promises. Let the future take off its shoes and stay a while, it has brought stories. In the days ahead you will know that this was the turning. You will be able to point to it with a smile that understands its own history. You will thank the child you once were for waiting. You will thank the adult you are for opening, even when opening felt like risk. You will thank the one who sent a person at the exact time your life needed a hand that felt like home. Stand at your window tonight and let the dark be a witness. Name this season without trembling. A good thing has arrived and is becoming. A faithful thing has found you because you became faithful to yourself. A bright thing has chosen a dwelling, and it calls that dwelling by your name. This is the message. This is the instruction. This is the blessing taking form as a face, a voice, a gentle habit of care. Breathe. Receive. Live accordingly. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, the path ahead widens like a river that has found its true banks, and your feet already know the rhythm. The presence I spoke of stands a little closer now, not to crowd you, but to remind you that the road is shared. Your soul learns balance when companionship keeps time with grace. You will wake with clarity that does not shout. Ideas will arrive in full sentences as if they have been rehearsing all night behind the curtain of sleep. The messenger will understand the language your dawn prefers. There will be a small kindness exchanged before noon, and it will tilt the entire day toward goodness. It may be a warm cup pressed into your hand at the perfect moment. It may be a note that says nothing dramatic and yet names everything that matters. Stories you once told with a tremor will be told with steadiness. The facts do not change, but your posture changes, and the past stops acting like a landlord. Your life renews the lease under a better name. You will see evidence that timing has always been more faithful than your worry. The bus door opens just as your lungs need rest. The email lands as your courage asks for one more sign of welcome. The messenger treats your boundaries like precious architecture. Doors remain closed when you place the latch with intention. Windows open when you invite fresh air and honest light. There is a table that begins to gather your days into meals instead of scattered bites. The conversation is not a performance, it is a porch where meaning sits comfortably. Laughter returns like a neighbor with a spare key and a basket of oranges. Your work will start to hum with integrity. The tools you hold feel like extensions of your devotion rather than payment for your worth. Results will matter, but alignment will matter more. When heaviness tries to recruit you, you will show it a chair but not your calendar. You will sit for a minute, honor its message, and then stand. The messenger respects the way you practice release without rage. You will notice how your home becomes a sanctuary instead of a storage unit for old versions of yourself. A shelf clears and suddenly breath has more room. A wall finds a new picture that matches the season you are living rather than the one you survived. The rhythm of your days will include pauses that glow. A pause on the staircase, hand on the rail, grateful to be between floors and not in a rush. A pause near the window, greeting the tree that seems to nod back with leaves that know your name. Gentleness will become a discipline instead of an accident. You will choose gentle words for yourself when tasks take longer. You will choose gentle expectations when growth needs another sunrise. The messenger carries patience the way a musician carries time. They are not in love with delay, they are in love with depth. You learn to prefer the roots you cannot see over the applause you cannot keep. Your friendships will recalibrate. Those who cheer loudest for your exhaustion will drift to the edges. Those who bless your rest will move toward the center without asking for a stage. There will be a walk that feels like the first walk you ever took as someone truly free. Your shoulders hang without armor. Your hands empty themselves of imaginary weights. You will find a sentence that becomes a compass. It might be 3 words you place on a sticky note near the door. It might be a line that feels like a path carved through a forest you thought was endless. The messenger will not interrupt your solitude, they will make room for it. Silence is not a distance, silence is a resource. You drink from it and return speaking with precision. Your creativity wakes like a cat stretching in sunlight. The edges of your talent stop apologizing. The center of your calling stands up and chooses color without negotiation. You will make a decision that once terrified you. It will be made on a Tuesday afternoon with ordinary light on your floor. You will realize terror was only a mask for a threshold you were born to cross. New rituals bless the week. A journal kept open to catch quiet confirmations. A candle lit at the end of tasks as a way to honor both effort and completion. You begin to measure success by alignment rather than attention. Attention arrives and leaves, alignment builds and stays. The messenger nods because they have learned this arithmetic. Your body trusts you when you say it is safe. Meals taste like participation rather than punishment. Sleep returns like a loyal friend who knows the way through dark rooms. You find yourself celebrating small repairs. A hinge that no longer squeaks after a drop of care. A sentence that no longer wounds after a drop of truth. Courage shows up as stewardship, not spectacle. You show up on time for the life you chose. You show up with honesty for the person you are becoming. You place a hand over your heart more often, not as a dramatic gesture, but as a sacred check-in. The beat agrees with your choices. The rhythm sounds like yes. The messenger's presence simplifies the landscape. You no longer chase every echo. You listen for the bell that belongs to your village. A room in your spirit unlocks and reveals unhoarded joy. It is not loud, it is luminous. It does not compete, it completes. You practice saying no with tenderness and yes with endurance. Both words carry dignity when spoken from a place that refuses to beg for belonging. The weight of false obligation lifts. A door you once begged to open becomes less interesting. You realize how much life was waiting behind the door already open. The messenger smiles because this is what wisdom looks like when it stops needing applause. Honesty begins to feel like hospitality. You tell the truth without sharpness. You receive truth without flinching. You stop narrating your value to people who are committed to confusion. You release the curriculum of over-explaining. You enroll in the practice of living proof. The clock no longer bullies you. Deadlines cooperate with devotion. Rest enters your schedule as a non-negotiable appointment with your own wholeness. You will see generosity multiply quietly. A small kindness given on Monday becomes a cascade by Friday. The messenger treats this not as magic but as the ordinary math of love. Old narratives try a final encore, but the stage belongs to newer music. You bow to the lessons and close the curtain. You step into the lobby where real conversations happen off the script. There is an afternoon when you organize a drawer and cry with relief. Order turns down the volume on panic. Space teaches your mind that it was never meant to carry everything at once. You will gather a circle of practices that travel well. Breath, water, movement, words, light. These 5 will become your companions when travel gets loud. The messenger remains steady during your quiet victories. They clap without pulling focus. They celebrate without making your joy a mirror for their own ache. You will reintroduce yourself to yourself. The name you speak feels right in your mouth. The face in the mirror is not a project, it is a place of residence. Your future stops acting like a cliff and starts acting like a field. Steps become seeds. Days become rain. You learn to hold blessing without tightening your grip. Open hands carry more because they do not bruise what they hold. Open hands receive more because they do not pretend to be full. A letter arrives from your own courage. It is dated today. It says you have permission to continue. The messenger affirms your pace as sacred. Faster is not richer. Truer is richer. You practice leaving rooms that shrink you without ceremony. You practice entering rooms that fit you without apology. Your feet memorize the choreography of self-respect. Light finds new angles on your walls. Morning learns the corners where you like to sit. Evening learns the colors that calm you into sleep. A project that once mocked you becomes possible. You draft, revise, and finish without the soundtrack of self-contempt. Completion tastes clean. Your empathy stops rescuing what refuses to live and starts nourishing what is actively blooming. The garden thanks you by surviving heat you once feared. The harvest thanks you by arriving in quiet abundance. The messenger teaches you the posture of receiving news without surrendering your center. Good news lands as gratitude rather than mania. Hard news lands as strategy rather than despair. You let certain secrets belong to silence and certain stories belong to trusted ears. You become a curator of your own narrative. Your life stops being a museum for other people's opinions. There is a morning you spend with sunlight and old photos. You bless the versions of you that kept the candle burning. You honor the limits they endured and the freedoms you now claim. You make peace with pace. The culture can sprint. Your spirit will pilgrimage. You find a teacher in the way tea steeps. Depth arrives with patience and heat. Flavor rewards the wait. The messenger models faithful companionship. Consistent, kind, clear. Your nervous system adopts the template. You rearrange your desk as if you are welcoming a collaborator. Pens where promises are made. Paper where plans can land and stand. Your calendar begins to look like a map that respects your body and your calling. White space is no longer shameful. White space is strategy. You take inventory of the language you live in. Words that bruise are retired. Words that build are rehearsed. Your attention learns to bow to what matters. Scrolling loses jurisdiction over your mornings. Presence wins the election in your house. The mirror becomes a place of blessing rather than assessment. The history of your face reads like testimony, not like a test. Kindness writes the captions. You learn to end your days with closure. A small note of gratitude. A promise to return without self-attack. The messenger notices how you carry yourself now. Shoulders no longer audition for armor. Eyes no longer apologize for light. You make plans that honor both vision and capacity. Deadlines breathe. Milestones celebrate. Your kitchen witnesses small feasts that do not require an audience. Warm bowls, honest spices, simple plates. Nourishment learns your address. You practice starting again without ceremony. You miss a day and return without self-judgment. Progress continues because shame retires. The old ache still visits sometimes, but it no longer knows the new codes. It waits at doors that no longer open. It whispers names you no longer answer. You keep a ledger of miracles in ordinary ink. A seat offered at the perfect moment. A bill paid without draining joy. The messenger remains mortal and human and beautiful in that humility. No pedestal is required. No projection is sustained. Your room of grief becomes a chapel where love is allowed to speak. Candles are lit for memory, not for punishment. Flowers are placed for honor, not for bargaining. You grant yourself the dignity of completion. You finish letters, finish tasks, finish seasons. Endings become clean thresholds. A new confidence settles into your voice. Volume is not the source of power. Alignment is the source of power. You celebrate others without making it a critique of yourself. Comparison evaporates under the heat of gratitude. Community learns to breathe. The messenger's companionship turns your house into a home for hope. Chairs hold conversations that matter. Floors memorize dances of relief. You learn to bless your own name when it enters a room. You learn to bless your own hands when they create something true. You learn to bless your own feet when they walk away from what unravels your peace. This season continues not as spectacle but as steady glow. The horizon keeps steady promises. The road keeps kind curves. Your life becomes less about proving and more about practicing. Practice turns into presence. Presence turns into peace. Heaven's reply unfolds daily, and you meet it daily. The messenger remains, not as a crutch, but as a companion. Together you build a life that does not flinch. You walk forward with the light you carry and the light you receive. You arrange your days around what blesses and what builds. You let the rest pass through. This is what I meant when I said someone was being sent. This is how arrival writes itself into your ordinary. This is how your story keeps its promises with honesty and care.